question 3.40. It says for a bridge network in figure 3.86, find I naught using mesh analysis. Okay, so a bridge network, it is a little complicated. I think some of the school consider it optional for their courses, but don't get daunted, like feeling like, oh, like shocked. You know, it's bridge network, but we can just treat it as a loop, and then we can just solve it from there. It doesn't require you to know any new information. All right, so for mesh analysis, it's important to just use the loops. So use I1, so that's first one, and then we're just gonna start applying the Kirchhoff KV, not VK, voltage law. Right, Kirchhoff voltage law. Okay, so start, this is going clockwise, and it's entering the negative side of the volts, so it's just a negative 56V, that's just how I've been taught, plus 2kV times I1, right, and then plus, okay, so now it hits here, right, it hits the 6, so 6k ohms times I1 minus I2. How do we determine which one is positive and negative? Matter of perspective, we're looking at I1 here, so I1 is positive and I2 is negative, because if we're setting them both in clockwise direction, one is going from top to bottom, one is going from bottom to top at this point, right? Okay. So moving on to the 4, so it's 4k ohms, I1 minus I3 there, and this whole thing gives you 0, okay? So remember, it's K, kilo ohms, and volts, so remember the units for the current must be in ampere, milliamperes, right? So the negative 56, move on to this side. And then, so first look for I1s, so there's 6, 4, and 2, so 12 I1s. So 12 I1s, well, 12k ohms I1s, right? And I2s, so negative 6, k ohm I2s, and then negative 4 k ohm I3s, right? Okay. And then now we go on to mesh 2 here. Oh, and it's important to draw the conclusion that I1 equals I naught, right? There's nothing, I naught is going here, it's in series, and it's going into this direction, same direction as I1, so therefore we can just draw that conclusion there. Okay, so I2. So I2, we start from one of the knots, so 6, so okay, so 6 kilo ohms times I2, right, and then plus 2 kilo ohms I2 minus I3, and then plus 6 kilo ohms of I2 minus I1, okay, equals 0. Equals 0. Okay, and then we simplify. Let's look for the I1s. So minus 6k ohms I1s, I2s, there's 6, 2, and 6, so plus 14 kilo ohms of I2, and then I3s, which is negative 2 kilo ohms of I3. Right, this whole thing gives you 0. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Well, in that case, let's move on to the next one. So we'll move on to 3, right? Move on to 3. For 3, oops, okay. 3 is, well, use the same thing for 4k ohms, I3 plus 4 kilo ohms of I3 minus I1 plus 2k ohms I3 minus I2 gives you 0. Look for the I1s. Negative 4 kilo ohms of I1 plus minus 2 kilo ohms of I2, and 2, 4, 4, so 10 plus 10 10 kilo ohms of I3, whole thing gives you 0. Okay, and you can simplify these, so you can divide it by 2 of this one, so it gives you 6 ki1 minus 3 ki2 minus 4 2 ki3. Right, this whole thing gives you 28 V. Okay, and then let's just draw a line here for clarifications, right? And then for this one, we can also divide things by 2, so negative 3 k plus 7k I2 I1 and minus 1k of I3 gives you 0, and then this one, negative 2k I1, negative 1k I2, and plus 5k I3, right? This whole thing gives you 0. Okay, so in this case, we can totally just plug everything into a calculator and using matrices, right? So let's double check the math real quick. Right, I always like to do that just in case. So negative, so 2k times I1, 6k I1 minus I2, 4k I1 minus I3. Okay, so 12. So it's 2, 4, and 6, so 12. Okay, and then 2's negative 6, negative 4. Okay, so this is 6, negative 3, and negative 2. And all of these are k's apparently. These are all k's, right? And then move on to the next one. I1. Okay, so I don't know what I did over here, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. So should be negative 3k, 7k, and negative 1k. Alright, and then the next one is negative 2k plus negative 1k and then 5k. Alright, this is I1, I2, and I3 equals 0, 0, and 0. Sorry, this is 28. 28. Okay, and then just plug this into your calculator, calculate it, and calculate it. So it's important if you're doing tests, just write this calculated by calculator or obtained through a calculator. Just, write this down so you're showing our professor that you know what type of math that you're using, and then you use the scientific tools or computer tools to help you calculate the final answers, right? So in the end, I1 is 8, I2 is 4, and I3 is 4. And all of these are in milliamps, right? Just remember that these are in milliamps because it's K voltage divided by K gives you milliamps, K ohms, right? And since I1, equals I naught, then I naught gives you 8 milliamps, right? Gives you 8 milliamps. Okay. I want to double check this part. 6K, yep. Yeah, I1 has to be negative because every time you're not doing that loops, everything else is negative. Yeah. So negative, positive, positive. Okay. Alright, fantastic. This is how you solve this problem. I guess the only difficult part is they give you a bridge network, but don't worry about it. Just use the regular mesh analysis, create meshes, and then and solve it from there. Okay. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Good luck on your studies, and I'll see you in my future videos. Bye.